Labrats, and welcome to this edition of the Metal Lab podcast. Hi Tom, how you doing?
Awesome, yeah. I think this is number 8.
This is number 8, yeah. We've been plodding along for a little while now. Obviously,
Amazing.
getting out of lockdown, so actually being able to start, hopefully, going out into the real world and bringing you some interviews and some live shows, hopefully, of what's going on in the underground scene.
Well, we can talk a little bit about that at the end, can't we? What we've got coming up in the next few weeks and few months, so that'd be quite cool.
Fantastic. So, Tom, what's the topic for this edition of the Metal Lab podcast?
We ran a poll on the group of my top 10 best metal guitarists, not being a musician.
Yep.
Sort of, they were my choice of the guitarists that I respected growing up.
Okay.
So I put a list on together to get a bit of fan interaction for everyone in the group.
And interaction we got.
Yeah, definitely. We got a lot of positive and some negative. Some people say maybe you should have put this on or that on, but you know, you're never going to win.
No, and again, this is what, like you say, for you growing up, these were the guitarists that you were just like, oh, I like that one.
Yeah, everyone is going to have a different opinion, and what they did with the list, obviously, is brought up some shocks.
Okay, then, so let's have an idea of, so we've got your top 10, so let's count down from 10 to 1.
Yep.
So number 10, who was your 10th most influential or favourite guitarist, and why?
Well, I just put the top 10 down. I didn't put them in order of who I thought.
Okay.
I just put them down, and I wanted to see what the actual group would vote.
Oh, okay. So this was just 10 artists that you liked,
yes,
and then you asked everybody else to put it into
that's right.
Okay.
Because obviously, all of them, in my eyes, I can't really define who is the best, you know, because they're all different to me.
Well,
you know?
okay.
It's through genres in my life, but it's good to have the feedback from other people as well.
Of course, yes.
So there was sort of one person that I thought maybe would have won it.
Okay.
And then we'll see at the end if I was correct or not.
Right, okay.
But so our top, the number one that we had with the lowest votes was at 10.
Yeah.
He got 5 votes, was Logan Mader from Machine Head. And
Really? I'm quite shocked at that. So he got the lowest percentage of votes for that. Okay, so that is very surprising. I would have thought there would have been a bigger sort of nod.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, moved Machine Head, and then he went on to Medication for a while, and then he joined Soulfly for a year, didn't he? So now he's with a new band, Once Human, they're called.
Yes.
2014, I think he joined them. So he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, heavily influential.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you think it was maybe an age divide? Because obviously for us growing up, Machine Head had quite a big impact because, again, there was part of that new metal scene breaking through.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is. I think it's just maybe Machine Head were good then. Yeah. But there's not so much sort of publicity about them anymore. There's not that progression that they've not really progressed as well as some bands have, and you know,
in terms of the mainstream coverage.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so who was number 9 then?
Number 9, again another shock for me, Jim Root from Slipknot. He only got 13 votes.
Okay, but do you think that's because there's multiple guitarists and so there's a difference in who does what for that?
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that maybe, you know, more modern music and he's a more modern guitarist, that he would have got more votes.
Okay, so do you think people may be looking at this from a technical standpoint as opposed to like where you was feeling an influence on you as an individual?
Definitely. I mean, coming from obviously musicians and people in the group that have voted, they obviously can, you know, rate the guitarist on how they think the skill level is and the speed level. With myself being a non-musician, I think it's a little bit different on the ear as well.
Yeah, so I like that. Yeah. Okay, so talking about music on the ear, let's go to our first track. So who have we got?
Really delighted to play this track because we're one of the first sort of people to sort of air it. This is a band that sort of hail from Corby and all around the sort of, you know, the Midlands area. Yep. They are from sort of different bands, but they've come together and they've created a new band called Disinherit. And this single is Torment, Torture, Kill.
Let's go. was Disinherit with Torment, Torture, Kill. So quite a good band, and not too far from us actually.
I know Mark and Carl very well. They're in an ex-band that I went to see a couple of years ago. Yep. So yeah, they sort of Mark reached out and says, "Do you fancy playing the track?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely.
Yes, we would.
Definitely. Yeah, what we're about."
Okay, so back to where we were with the guitarist. So obviously we've had the 10 and 9 spots. So let's go in at number 8.
Number 8. So we all know him as number 7 from Slipknot.
Oh right, okay.
Mick Thompson, Mr. Mask himself, Hockey Mask himself.
Okay, so like we were saying before, obviously there's multiple guitarists in the band, so obviously that comes through.
I think it also goes down to maybe as well that people voted because, like us growing up, we had certain influences and certain bands that we really loved.
Yes,
you know, some people like Slipknot, some people don't.
Yep.
You know, this is what it's always going to be. There's always going to be bands that you don't like, and bands that you do like. Guitarists that you don't like, guitarists that you do like. So, but for me, I'm a big Slipknot fan, and I just appreciate that they've got really shit hot musicians. You know, and I think,
they've got that distinct sound that
exactly
is Slipknot, and that's obviously had a massive influence on other bands. So okay, so who is number 7 if number 7 is not number 7?
One of my favourite guitarists, and I'm a bit shocked that he's only got to number 7, Andreas Kisser from Sepultura.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I think that may come down to, obviously when you think of great guitarists, a lot of people think of all the twiddly widdly bits as opposed to obviously the ability to play the guitar, the sounds that they get from it. Obviously, like you say, you're not necessarily looking at that technicality, you're looking at what the sound is and the feel that it gives you. So, and I can definitely understand why it's one of your favourites.
Yeah, I just think growing up, when we've both sort of grown up together, in our teenage years, and listening to bands like Sepultura and Soulfly and Pantera, and I remember like listening to like the first ever sort of Chaos AD, and I just thought, oh my god, this blew me away. I
remember it's their first TV appearance on The Word at the time, and managed to get a recording of that. It was on very, very late, and I was still quite young. And I remember the first time I heard it, I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but I knew I fucking loved it. And so it was, for me, it was that shock of, what is this? How can I get more of it?
And it was that Brazilian sort of influential sort of drum sound as well, and it was, at that time, it totally changed the whole landscape of metal, didn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, they came along and changed a lot.
Yeah, and they had that sort of metal look, didn't they? With Max and his combats and his dreadlocks, but they were Brazilian and they played the drums and they had that little do sort of little drum sound, and it sort of it just worked, didn't it?
Yeah, and again there was that change in the music at that time. So so that was definitely. That's a bit of a shock that he's
I'm very
not
shocked.
higher up. Again, when you step from that, I can understand from a technical point of view.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's not a lot of twiddly widdlies.
Yeah.
But definitely an influential guitarist. So, has there been anything else going on this month in the Metal Lab page?
Oh, blimey. We've got loads of Metal Lab news, so check all that.
Definitely get onto the site.
We've got some decent gigs coming up as well, haven't we?
Yeah, so definitely check that. Go onto the Metal Lab page, check out the gig list section.
Definitely.
And like you're saying, there's some awesome bands playing. And obviously, with COVID, there's been a lot of shows that have been put back. You were saying earlier to me that obviously a couple of shows that you was looking forward to.
Yeah, we were going to see Die Art is Murder, but obviously I think due to travel restrictions from Australia, that's been put back to next year.
Yeah.
And then Ingested again with Volvadinia. Volvadinia is South American, so again, travel restrictions again. So I think this year, mostly for me, it's going to be local UK, supporting the underground, going to local gigs around sort of Peterborough and Northampton. So, we've got a few gigs. We've got a few gigs in Peterborough that are coming up already as well. So I think we've got on the 29th of October, we've got Fallen State, a really good band. And then we've got on the 13th of November Red Method, so that's going to be really cool.
I know, you're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we done the press release just before lockdown, didn't we?
Yes.
We were supposed to really go on sort of tour with them and do some filming, but then pandemic
stuff happened, unfortunately, so paid to that.
Really looking forward.
Okay, so talking of bands that I know you really like, who's the next band that we're playing, Tom?
These guys are from Newport in Wales. Okay, I run their fan page.
So no biased opinions at all.
But I just they're a band that I've seen progress from small, and they played in little venues, and then they've gone and toured with Trivium, Pirate Drive, Hatebreed. They've done,
that's some amazing
stuff.
Yeah,
they've played Download, New Blood, everything. They went to Glastonbury and played there. So now they've just been signed by a record label. So it's absolutely amazing. So female fronted as well. Larissa Stalper, great vocalist. So the band are Venom Prison.
Fantastic. What's the name of the track?
The track is Matrifiki.
Let's go. So that was Venom Prison with Matrifiki. So obviously, like I was saying, one of your favourite bands.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good album as well. It's come from the album Samsara. It was released in 2019. Yep. So just, I can't just sort of say enough about them. You know what I mean? They're just, I think, from seeing a UK sort of female-fronted band and how well they've done, they've worked really hard to get where they are as well. Really hard.
Seeing that progression from a truly underground band to getting to the point where they're signed, and we hope we can help many more bands achieve the same thing, really.
It's really cool because I see them as a support band, and now they were headlining. We went to see them in 2019 the Underworld in Camden.
Yep.
And they headlined with like Volvadinia and bands like that, Fit for an Autopsy, and I was thinking, oh my god, I mean, Fit for an Autopsy are big themselves, you know? But now they're actually at the stage where they've got enough fan base they can actually headline themselves.
Yeah.
Which
Really
is
good to
really
see.
cool.
Yeah.
But they still have that underground sort of ethos coursing through their games anyway. They still act like an underground band. They're not like they're not you know,
get big headed about it.
No, they're not, which is really cool.
Well, again, it should be about the music and about being true to yourself, and definitely one of those bands that has that. So back to our top 10 of your favourite guitarists. So who's next on the list?
Number 6 is Kurt Hammett from Metallica.
One of my favourite guitarists, and one of the reasons that I started playing guitar was hearing Metallica and going, I want to do that. And yeah, I can definitely see that. I know he sometimes gets a bit of bad press from about whether he is actually that good, but I think again he's one of those musicians that it's not necessarily just how he plays, it's what he plays and what he's brought to it.
Definitely.
And you can definitely tell Kurt Hammett solo, there's no mistake
to
in it.
One or you know, even Fade to Black, amazing, you know.
Yeah, and again it's just that thrash that came through and everything. He was definitely a massive influence on me growing up.
I don't think you could have Hetfield without Hammett though. They both sort of worked together, and that sound was just wow.
It just worked. Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly think that if one of them had left,
that would have made the difference.
I think it would have really been a completely different sounding band altogether. But
well, would you have ended up with two lots of Dave Mustaine and Megadeth?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's another talking point on another show. Maybe,
yeah,
you know.
Okay, so after Mr. Hammett, who's next?
We have Kerry King from Slayer. Now there was a bit of a hoo-ha in the voting schedule for this, because a lot of people sort of thought that we could have added Jeff Hanneman instead of Kerry King, but you know, I understand from people's point of view, but I just, you know, and Kerry King I thought he was a really sort of good guitarist and always had that sort of prowess about him, big hard nut guy.
Growing up, there was definitely that image, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And whenever you saw, you knew who Kerry King was, and it was much more about him as the guitarist.
I
and
think
his,
so.
Weird scales and everything that he was playing.
I mean, Hanneman, amazing, but I think Kerry King was more in the forefront, and you know, all the time. And it was always him and Tom Araya were the two sort of
seemed to be the front people of it.
Guys. Yeah.
They used to be the two people you recognised in Kerrang and everywhere else.
Yeah.
There was definitely that talk. And for me, again, as a musician, it was nearly always Kerry King on the front of the magazines.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's two big thrash sort of guitarists that have come in at 6 and
mid-table. Yeah,
so that's quite interesting. So guys, also on the Metal Lab, don't forget, if you're in a band and you'd like to take part of our Battle of the Bands, make sure you get in contact. Again, this is just a friendly competition to help highlight two bands where you just come along, put what you think is your best track out, or the track that you want people to listen to most. We put two bands against each other. Let people vote. Hopefully it drives more traffic to your sites so you get more plays, you get some new fans. And again, it's about growing the scene, about getting people to understand there's all this new music out there. So you don't have to have thousands of likes or followers. It could be you're in your bedroom, you've recorded this all by yourself, nobody else has heard it. Give us a listen. Why not let the people sort of show you their opinions and how much they love it?
And I think it's encouraging as well that we've got to over 7k members now, and we're trying to spread that message, and we've been sort of focused on what we're doing and the message that we're sending to people. You know?
Definitely. So as well as those 7,000 people that get to listen to your music, you also get played on Berg Studios with Franz the Planet, and again you get a radio interview with him, so you get to have a chat on worldwide broadcast radio station,
Exactly.
get some airplay, more fans, more interactions, and again, just let people know that you're out there. We're here to try and help the underground become bigger, to show people that there is a place where everyone can come together and just find some awesome music.
Definitely, and obviously if you want your song heard or spinned on the Metal Lab podcast,
definitely,
then obviously message us as well. So the email address is metallabinterviews@gmail.com.
Definitely, get your entries across, or if you want any more information, again, just email and we can have a look.
Definitely.
So who's the next track we've got playing for you?
So this is a 5-piece from Spalding, so not too far from us.
Again, so not deliberately bands close to us this time around, just that happens.
It seems like there's a lot of resurgence of sort of local UK bands at the moment.
Which is always
It's been really, really cool. We've just not had a chance to go and see them all.
No, but hopefully that will change. So what are we playing from?
So from their new album, they just released it. It's called Heart-Shaped Grenade.
Okay,
so this is a track called Whispers. It really sort of resonated to me a little bit. It's about the band's struggles, and societal breakdown that they've gone through and stuff. So if you listen to the words, I'm sure that it will probably resonate with a lot of people as well, that what sort of struggles that they've actually had, addictions and other stuff like that people go through, that they think sometimes that they're alone, but they're actually not. It's more common than what people think.
Unfortunately so. And again, if that is something that affects you, just make sure, just reach out and chat to someone. Again, put some messages on there. We've got a fantastic sort of group of people who are the Lab Rat Army.
Definitely.
And again, we're all here to support each other, and just remember, you're never alone. There's always someone who can reach out and help you. So let's go listen to Buried by My Heartache and Whispers. Let's go. Buried by My Heartache and Whispers. So yeah, a great track.
Yeah, a lot of really powerful sort of words in that as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we're cutting it down now. So
top 4.
Who is your number 4?
Well, the group's number 4 is from Iron Maiden, Adrian Smith.
Fantastic. And again, this
is one of your favourites.
One of my favourites, yeah. So him and Dave Murray, there was just, again, the first time I heard Maiden, I wondered why I'd never heard anything like this before. Growing up with 3 older sisters, it was a lot of Duran Duran and Wham and just that pop kind of 80s music. And so hearing Maiden, it was just like, I need to have more of this in my life. And so for me, that was definitely the start in my metal journey from that. So yeah, that was a massive influence on me.
From me as well, it was different. It wasn't heavy metal as such, was it? No. It was sort of like new wave stuff, which was it sort of followed on. But yeah, the guitar work was obviously amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. As we were talking about earlier about the whole Iron Maiden and Eddie and the artwork, and we were talking about they're just that complete package, weren't they?
Yeah, it's not just about the music, it's about everything that goes along with it as well.
They always push the boundaries of the artwork, they always have Eddie doing something really obscure, like ripping a nun's head off or drinking blood or whatever, but they always push the boundaries of that, which was cool.
Do you know what, it's one of the things that I feel is a bit of a shame about the digital age, in the fact that there was definitely something about getting an Iron Maiden album. I remember when I got Power Slave, and it was the cassette, and you pulled it out and it had all the images in there saying Live After Death. That folded out into an awesome piece of art, and that's something that people don't necessarily have that attachment with it. Obviously there's still some great artists out there and are still pushing its new boundaries into the digital age, but there was definitely that marriage between the images, and I think Maiden were one of the first and the best at sort of having that iconography of it.
Yes, exactly.
So who's next on the list? Who's number 3?
Who I never thought would be in the top 3.
Okay.
I don't really like him.
Well, why is he in your top 10 then?
Well, it's just, he should be at 10.
Right, okay.
I would swap him with Logan Maid any day.
Okay.
But number 3 was Dave Mustaine.
Okay, well, again, he's a technically gifted guitarist. I can sort of understand that. And I think, do you think that comes down then to sort of the amicity between Metallica and Megadeth fans? And obviously for a lot of people there's that line, you can't like one if you like the other kind of thing.
I think so. It's a bit like Xbox and PlayStation, wasn't it? Metallica and Megadeth.
Yeah.
There's always that, you're always going to say, oh, Dave Mustaine was a far better guitarist than Brett Hammett or whoever, or James Hetfield, and no, and then Metallica fans are going to say, oh, he's rubbish, he left the band, he's no good. But you got to give credit where credit's due. Megadeth did go on and obviously make a very good career.
Band,
some real big bangers as well.
Yep.
So Symphony of Destruction, loads of other great songs as well.
Yeah, again, another one of those albums that growing up this is pretty damn good, and listening to that, and for me it was just great to have another thrash-esque band come along with just some great tunes.
Definitely.
So talking of great tunes, who have we got up next?
Something different. So this is a UK band, and a female fronted band, so a little bit of a theme tonight. It wasn't something intentional, but so these are called Destroy Planets.
Okay.
They've released their EP Mass X Gravity. You'll hear this is a little bit different, so the vocals on this are sort of clean and sort of guttural, so very different from what you would sort of expect.
Okay, cool.
So the track's called Burn in Hell.
Okay, so that's Destroy Planets and Burn in Hell. Let's go.
You can burn in hell with the sins of your past. Forever never lasts, and the wind blows you fast. Keep it on the down low that you're dying inside. Big smile on your face, thinking you can hide. How do you when you're staring at the road? How do you never back on top? Did it give you a shock that I somehow survived?
that was Destroy Planets and Burn in Hell. So I understand you had a bit of a chat with the band.
Yeah, I've done a written interview in April with Tanya, so obviously we have that post topic on the group, written interviews. Where you just type in the hashtag written interviews, you'll find that. There's some really cool interviews that I managed to get. I mean, probably not an underground band as such, but I managed to get an interview with Fit for an Autopsy as well, which I was really stoked about because, you know, I love them guys anyway. But yeah, there's so many cool interviews that I've done. I mean, Arc Arrival, recently done one with Alvarez from Peggy Records for their new album. So yeah, but we're getting some really nice interviews, even like Millennium from New Wave of British Heavy Metal and stuff. So,
school.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we want to be as diverse as we can with the interviews as well. Yeah.
And again, if you're in a band and obviously you're interested in having an interview that we can then put on the Metal Lab Facebook page, by all means, get in contact, drop us a message.
Yeah, we've got a interview coming up soon with Buried by the Heart.
We do indeed.
It's a live interview, which is going to be quite interesting because they're a bit of a funny bunch as well. They like to have a bit of a mess about.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it's just going to be nice to actually go and see people in the flesh and actually be able to talk to people face to face rather than through screens all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're coming down to our top 2 of your favourite guitarists, as voted for by the Metal Lab Labrats.
Yeah.
So who was number 2?
James Hetfield.
And again, one of those surprises because obviously a lot of people would have put Hammett above the Hetfield.
That was exactly what I was just going to say to you. Yeah. I would have thought that.
So it's weird. Hammett definitely had a bigger influence on me as a lead guitarist, so wanting to play lead parts and everything else. But as I matured as a guitarist, I found it was a lot of the Hetfield parts. It was just his solid playing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really heard him fuck up in the same way that I've heard Kurt fuck up at times.
Yeah.
And again, it's when you're playing live and faster than you would normally. Obviously, it's very fast anyway, so I can understand that. But Hetfield seems to have that consistent rhythm going, and he's definitely a solid guitarist. So I'm definitely not disappointed, obviously being a Metallica fan, with that. But I am a little surprised with that. So I'm guessing, like saying, that was the same for you.
Yeah, and I think as we went back to earlier in the podcast, we were saying about the relationship they both had.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what's worked over the years. I mean, people are saying, you know, Logan, Reload, 2 of the worst albums and everything. But what people have got to realise is they were older. So were we, and they can't keep, like Maiden's new album, they can't keep making stuff like they were when they were in their 20s, you know?
Yeah, just
Load and Reload, it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but there was some absolute bangers on the albums, you know?
It's one of those things, isn't it? It seemed to be a lot more radio friendly, which again was one of the things everyone was saying about the Black Album.
Yes.
But you listen to the Black Album now, and it's one of those sort of iconic albums.
Probably made them the most money.
Quite possibly.
Do you know what I mean? So,
they definitely got the most notoriety. I think that's what broke them into definitely the mainstream.
But a lot of your hardcore sort of Metallica fans will go back to like Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, and maybe Puppets. I mean, in my opinion, Puppets is probably the best album they've ever released because it's the last Cliff Burton album.
Yeah, there was just something about them four writing music and coming up with those masterpieces.
I just think it was musically with Cliff Burton, you know, I think sort of then after, you know, they had Newstead and Derek and stuff, and I just think I don't think it works, you know, not as much.
No.
You know, the sound has changed over the years, hasn't it?
Well, I think now they're back into that same kind of frame of mind that they had back there, which obviously is fantastic for me as a fan listening to them, and hopefully I'll get to catch and see them live again at some point when they're staying over here.
In the UK. Yeah.
So, who is the number 1 guitarist?
Big drum roll, actually. We have the drum roll. Yeah. It is actually quite refreshing for me because he is my all-time sort of favourite guitarist.
Okay, so the Labrats agreed with you.
On my sort of telepathic sort of, thoughts. The number 1 is Dimebag Darrell from Pantera.
And it's difficult to argue otherwise, just because of the massive impact that he had as a guitarist.
On everyone I know.
Yeah.
His guitars look cool, he played it, he's just... everything. You know, the custom dime bag was the guitar was
Yeah,
just
the Dean
amazing.
guitars,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Deans
just-
were just, and he was just shit hot at what he did. You know,
Yeah.
that sort of that sort of doom sludge sort of sound, and how he, you know, made his own
Yeah.
sound as well was just.
Well, strangely enough,
amazing.
when we was talking before the podcast, I was talking about some of the difficulties with like 3-piece or 4-piece bands
Yeah.
being able to fill a massive sound in the stadium, and Pantera were definitely able to do that, and obviously Dimebag Style was one of the reasons for being able to do that.
Yeah.
It's you didn't miss having overlays and things like that. It was a case of this is the music, this is what it sounds like, and you're gonna fucking love it. And
Exactly.
yeah, there was definitely that kind of no, this is it, this is the best thing you're ever going to hear, and they believed it, and I think most people agreed with them, to be honest.
Oh, of course, and I think they just some opinions that I've heard, people thought maybe he could have been in a better band, a more successful band. You know, sometimes that people are saying that Pantera got to a level and then that was it. You know? Well, it would have been interesting to find out if obviously Dime had never
Yeah.
died,
If you're going
what
to,
course of direction he
Yeah.
would have taken, you know, in another band. Because, you know, I now see guitarists 30, 40 years on, like, you know, Adrian Smith, Hetfield, Hammett, they're all in, you know, their late 50s now.
Yeah.
And Dimebag would have been, and what would his progression have been, what direction would he have gone into?
Yeah.
It would have been quite interesting to see
Yeah,
that, and I would have
definitely.
loved that, you
Yeah.
know. What sound, would Doom sound still, would he still love that, or would he sort of, you know, navigated into some other sort of sound and genre, you know? It would have been really, really cool to sort of see him in maybe a deathcore band or something.
okay.
Yeah, that would be interesting, but God rest him, we're never going to be able to do that.
Unfortunately,
No.
no. Well, on that unfortunately somber note,
Yes.
but again celebrating a fantastic musician.
Or
and
10 fantastic guitarists.
10 fantastic guitars, yeah.
Yes.
And I think, again, all of those bands have had influence on lots and lots of people over the years.
Exactly.
And again, it's not just the bands I'm listening to now, it's the bands of the bands, again, that they've influenced, because some of them have been around for so long.
Yeah.
They've just been the sound of metal.
And it's refreshing to go and see an underground band, and like, you know, some bands are emulating these guitarists, and you know, you can hear it in, you know, some of their solos, or they've got like a Dimebag custom guitar, and you think, wow, you know, big massive Pantera fan, or whatever, you know. It's
Yeah,
just
just
nice
blending those sounds and those
it's
techniques.
nice to see bands that are actually going back to the 90s and looking at the bands that were around then and trying to bring the sound back.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And make us not feel quite so old.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's go on to our last track for this podcast. So who have we got?
I'm not going to say it's an Elvis tribute band, because it's not, because they're called Return to Sender. Okay, so these are a Christian metalcore band.
Okay, so
Yeah,
something a bit different.
Cool. So these messaged me a couple of weeks ago and said, "Oh, do you want to check out our song?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be really cool." So they're from Christian. They're from South Carolina.
Yeah.
They're trying to give off obviously positive music.
Yep.
You know, trying to take all the negativity away from everything that was happening in the world at the moment. There's a lot of real negative stuff happening
Unfortunately, so
worldwide.
yes. Yeah.
You know, just need to look at what's happening, you know, in Afghanistan
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's really quite disturbing, isn't it? So these guys want to send obviously a positive message in their music. So the track that we're going to be playing is a track called "Destroy the Serpent."
Let's go. So that was Return to Sender with Destroy the Serpent. So yeah, great band.
Yeah, really cool messages as well. It's nice to have some positivity.
Yeah, definitely. We can definitely all do with that right now.
Definitely.
So obviously we're going to be out and about, going to some more gigs as the more and more gigs are allowed to happen.
Definitely.
So obviously we're going to be at a gig coming up at Mum and Liz's in Stamford in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, 1st of October if you're down there.
Yeah, so if you're around, come say hi. We'll be around. We're going to be doing some interviews and things. So
yeah, 4 UK bands as well, which is quite cool.
Yep,
really
fantastic.
good on the bill. So yeah, I think it's Must Kill, Own Your Life, Valbordy Autopsy, and then Vendetta UKHC headlining.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic show. So so if you're about there, definitely come down and say hi.
Come and join us in the pit. We'll be
the
two old guys with a walking frame, but you know,
one with a camera trying to
fall
over. Yeah, so great. So obviously, if you're in a band or if you're just interested in the metal scene, then come join us our Facebook group at the Metal Lab. There you'll find all great things. Like I said, there's the Battle of the Bands, there's a gig list. So again, if you're in a band and you've got a gig coming up, every Thursday, go onto the page, we'll be putting up a post. Just put your show there, promote the hell out of yourselves. Obviously that's what we're here for, to try and help other people out there. And again, help these bands out. Go buy their merch, go see their shows. As more shows happen, obviously people need that support. Venues need to know that people are going to go to the shows, that people at the bands need to know that people will come and buy their tickets. And
we do have the band's merch store hashtag as well in the group. So if you type in band's merch store, you can have a look at all the merch that we put on the post for the band, so you can click on all the links. We've got the artist showcase, which is a really good segment.
We do as well, indeed.
So really cool.
And again, so if you're in a band and you just want to put your name out there, so promoters and other bands can see, put your name up there. And again, if you're a band and you're looking for support, go on to our list and have a look for any bands that are local to you who you may not necessarily have heard of. Give them a listen, and obviously if they fit the bill, get them to come along. And obviously it doesn't hurt to go along and maybe have a look at some of our merch as well. Obviously, we'd like to.
We've got the Metal Lab merch.
Everything out there. It's got some very nice t-shirts and some mugs and everything else, and the usual kinds of things that you see. So yeah, definitely go on there. So until next time, obviously keep it metal. But for all your news, reviews, and interviews,
join us at the Metal Lab podcast, and join us at the Metal Lab, the home of underground metal.
Skin,